It is 7 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, welcome to it. African Diaries is the name of the show. To the team that was, what a stellar job. That is the team of Tepiso Makwetla on Africa World Hour. The name is Sheila Ndikumana, and I've got you for the next 2 hours. If you weren't tuned into the station, this is DSTV's 802. If not, 628 on OpenView HD. Lastly, stream us anywhere you go. We are available on YouTube. That's exciting for me, right? Audio visuals, meaning you can watch the show, you can listen to the show via YouTube and Facebook. In the next 2 hours, we're going to be looking at two things, and I think they're interlinked ever so beautifully in the time we find ourselves in. So perhaps you're thinking to yourself, will my job exist in the next 10 years, right? Will I have something to do? Will my skill set be required? I don't know if I should start again. Do I start again? I've tried so many things, I've failed, and I don't know where to go to. In the very first hour of the show, we speak about redefining our relationship with failure. Perhaps yours is a question of, is it worth it to start over again when every single time I try, I feel like I'm not going to come to anything. It's not going to amount to anything. Maybe that is your hidden secret. And this is why you keep on pushing on in a career path that you doubt. And then in the second hour of the show, we have an opportunity to touch base with Willem Goos, who is part of our month-long series that's focused on the realities of rewiring our minds for success. And we're going to be looking to adaptivity. How can you adapt yourself so that in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years from now, you are an evergreen resource in your career path? Those are the questions and conversations that come your way this evening. Do get a hold of us via WhatsApp, +27 6340 9126 on X, TikTok, Instagram, you name all social media platforms. We are there at Channel Africa 1. And then lastly, don't forget that you can stream us live via Facebook and YouTube.
Mix Vibration sur Channel Africa.
Qu'est-ce qui vous a amené à dire ça? Est-ce que vous avez observé un certain nombre d'événements dans la vie? Est-ce que c'était par rapport à une expérience? Est-ce que vous avez rencontré des choses qui vous ont dit la patience, comme ça, les choses vont venir au bon moment et le bon Dieu pourra peut-être me visiter?
Oui, c'était justement un conseil que le Seigneur m'a fait inspirer pour donner à son peuple, parce qu'il y a la plupart des gens, pendant que Dieu bénit les autres, ils pensent que Dieu les a oubliés, et pendant que Dieu ouvre pour les autres, ils pensent que peut-être Dieu n'a pas pu écouter leurs prières. Alors, ce n'est pas le cas. Alors, Dieu bénit tout un chacun de nous avec son temps. Donc, le temps de Dieu est toujours le meilleur dans la vie de tout un chacun de nous.
Mix Vibration, tous les dimanches de 18h à 19h, temps universel.
Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Sheila Ndikumana.
Furahi
Channel Africa, where every moment is an African celebration. Feel the energy, feel the connection. Channel Africa, the African perspective.
Digress. My girl, you told me that I'm not your love interest. See, my girl, the last time that I checked, see, nothing ain't changed yet. Except that I got a big bag and a big flag. Don't make nobody tell me nonsense, my nigga. Streets is so cold, my nigga. May nobody come try cry me a river. I'ma pull through like the strings on my guitar. Nonsense, my nigga. The shoes is so cold, my nigga. When nobody come try to cry me a river. I'ma pull through like the strings on my guitar. It's so cold outside, my brother. I don't want pull no trigger. I just want it, cause I'm going place. I don't want no wahala. It's so cold outside, my brother. I know the hate on my brother. Me, I just want it, cause I'm going places. I don't want no wahala. Oh, it's so cold outside. Me, I know they let nothing to worry me. I know they let nothing to bother me. Me no owe no one apology. We know say Sheila no they bother nobody. Me, I know they let nothing to bother me. I know they let nothing to bother me. Me no owe no one apology. Do you get me? Me nobody tell me nonsense, my nigga. Streets is so cold, my nigga. Me nobody come try cry me a river. I'ma pull through like the strings on my guitar. Nonsense, my nigga. The streets is so cold, my nigga. Me nobody come try cry me a river. I'ma pull through like the strings on my guitar. It's so cold outside, my brother. I don't want pull no trigger. I just want live, cause I'm going place. I don't want no wahala. It's so cold outside, my brother. Me, I know the hate on my brother. Me, I just want live, cause I'm going places. I don't want no wahala. Oh, it's so cold outside. Me, I know they let nothing to worry me. I know they let nothing to bother me. Me no owe no one apology. You know say Sheila no they bother nobody. Me, I know they let nothing to bother me. I know they let nothing to bother me. Me no owe no one apology. Do you get me? It's so cold outside.
His name is Timaya, and this one is titled Cold Outside. Before that, Kajanine coming through with Sailing. If you have just joined us 18 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time, welcome to African Diaries. Sheila Ndikumana with you, and we've got the next 2 hours together. Let's get a recap of the day, some of the conversations hosted on Channel Africa, proudly bringing you that African perspective. We kickstart off with the Rise and Shine team. Now, on this Monday's economic wrap, the team, together with development economist Dr. Eddie Mahembe, unpacked Africa's fast-paced transformation. Now, from fertilizer investments powering agriculture to record-breaking capital flows in Senegal and more.
Some of the best economic news shaping Africa's transformation today, from strategic investments in fertilizer production, boosting agriculture, to record-breaking investment commitments fueling Senegal's growth and Angola's return to international debt markets, supporting economic stability. And to help us understand these important developments, we're now joined by Dr. Eddie Mahembe, who's a development economist. Thank you very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Peter, and good morning to your listeners all around Africa.
So let's begin in West Africa. Senegal's 2025 Investment Forum just closed with 23.5 billion US dollars in commitments across 51 partnership deals. What does this tell us about the investment sentiment towards West Africa right now, and how realistic are those commitments in terms of actual follow-through?
Yes, thank you for that. What is happening now is I think we are seeing a renewed interest in Africa in general, and also I think Senegal after the recent elections, I think there is like some increased appetite to focus on development, to focus on investment, and these commitments, like what you rightly said, this is a really massive boost to the, especially the investment committee, but also the minister responsible for investment promotion. The detail, obviously, from the partnership commitment, they're saying it's around 51 partnership agreements which were signed. But I think the issue is how soon can that investment be turned into actual implementable projects?
And keeping things on the move, we learned that a girls' night out isn't just fun. It's fuel for emotional well-being. Now, Palisa Tao and Benjamin Mshatama explored the science of sisterhood and why connection heals with Tobile Tops Mkwanazi from Sisterhood Connect.
I think that has been researched, and there seems to be positive feedback around a girls' night out. According to recent research, spending quality time with close female friends every 22 days can significantly boost emotional health, reduce stress, and strengthen social bonds. I think it also becomes economical, because I think some ladies, when they do hang out and businesses start coming up, ideas of how we can actually do side hustles start coming up. We talk about the essential ingredients of a truly meaningful girls' night. What makes these moments not only enjoyable but genuinely restorative? Tobile Top Mkwanazi joins us, a friend here on the show, woman advocate and also founder of Sisterhood Connect. Hey, Tobile, how you doing?
Great morning, Benjamin, Balisa, Channel Africa on the Move family. I am great.
You know what I'm enjoying, Tobile? I'm enjoying the fact that it seems like you're hanging out with us every 22 days now.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
It's also good for our emotional,
and it's just so beautiful how we've stayed open, right? Like relationships, dynamics, connections, they take different shapes and forms, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so today we're here talking about a girls' night out. Maybe not typically as we always know it, and I say that as a 42-year young woman. But I think it's very important to highlight what you've just touched on, Benjamin, in terms of, we are definitely prioritizing the idea of connection.
And on Africa Update, as the fragile Gaza ceasefire holds into day 4, U.S. President Donald Trump addresses Israel's parliament. With 20 hostages safely landing to the Red Cross, Lulu Gabu speaks to SABC's Blake Sifton in Tel Aviv for the latest.
A U.S. President Donald Trump has addressed Israel's parliament as a fragile Gaza ceasefire he helped to broker enters a 4th day. 20 living Israeli hostages have been handed over to the Red Cross. We cross now to SABC News correspondent in Tel Aviv. That's Blake Sifton. Blake, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Now, reports suggest that the living hostages have been handed over to the Red Cross. What more can you tell us about this?
That's right. All 20 living hostages were handed over this morning in 2 separate groups, both in Gaza City as well as in the south. They were handed over by Hamas to the Red Cross without any kind of ceremony or spectacle. And they were taken then to Israeli forces in Gaza, then to military bases just across the border. There they reunited with their families.
And then on the upside, Kamata, acclaimed South African actress and producer best known for her breakout role as Puleng Khumalo on Netflix's Blood and Water, joined Mateko Mosito in studio for an inspiring conversation.
She's fresh off a plane from Paris because she was also strutting her ways through the runways for the L'Oreal annual fashion show, and she literally looks like she just woke up like this. I woke up like this. I woke up like this. Hello, Amma.
Hi. Oh my gosh, what a stunning introduction.
You are deserving. You are so deserving.
Thank you so much.
So wonderful to meet you in person. We've always ever seen you on television. Not as Amma, but as other people,
someone else
playing characters.
Yeah.
Because that is your job, to not play Amma, but to play characters.
To be someone different, to channel different energies.
Thank you. That are feminine, that are representative of young women. How are you doing? So wonderful to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. I am so good. I feel there's just such a good energy and feel in this room, and I think I'm picking up on that. But I don't know anything. I'm really excited. Really tired from Paris.
Yes.
That was really just an insane experience. But I feel good.
And then lastly, from our Chinyanja desk, Onzochi Tika, Malawi's Minister of Health, or rather the Ministry of Health, is set to roll out a cervical cancer vaccination campaign from the 27th of October to the 31st of October, aiming to protect women from a disease that claims nearly 3,000 lives each year. Madapiri spoke to ministry spokesperson Adrian Chikumbe for more on this life-changing initiative.
unduna wa dziko la malawi uzayamba kupereka katemera oteteza khansa ya pakhomo pa chiberekero kwa amayi a mdzikolo kuyambira pa 27 mpaka pa 28 oktoba chaka chino. Kuti timve zambiri pano tili ndi mneneri wa ku unduna wa zaumoyo mdzikolo bambo Adrian Chikumbe. Takulandirani bambo Chikumbe pa Channel Africa Chinyanja Service. Muli bwanji?
Tili bwino kaya inuyo.
Bwino. Ndi amayi ochuluka bwanji amene amagwidwa ndi matenda a khansa ya khomo la chiberekero?
Maka mlinga ndi kafukufuku wathu zikusonyeza kuti amayi pafupifupi 4,000 pachaka amatenga matenda amenewa, amayamba matenda a kansa ya khomo la chiberekero. Komanso mwa amayi amenewa pafupifupi 4,000 ndi amayi oposa 3,000 amene akumamwalira ndi matenda amenewa pachaka, ndi nkhani yovutirako ndithu.
For these and more stories, do head over to channelafrica.co.za and follow at Channel Africa 1 on all socials for the latest as it happens.
Siyabangena manje. Vito iJabulani Nkolele iMagoda. Jabulani is a young man from Giyani in Limpopo in South Africa. Very easy guy, taking things easy. To know me is to know that I love what I do, which I'm crazy about it. So when you hear me on radio, expect the best. Expect great music. Expect great content. Expect 180 minutes of nothing but fun. You'll find me on the morning reset, 3 to 6 a.m., Monday to Friday. Siyabangena baba. Ay. Mbuleke.
African Diaries, weekdays, 10 till midnight.
27 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time, a blessed and beautiful one to you and yours. It is time for us to scribe in our diaries this evening, and we are doing it in Kiswahili. We kickstart off by saying Dear African Diary in Kiswahili, and it goes as follows. Shajara mpenzi ya Afrika.
Don't personalize failure, man. It failed. You didn't fail. The business failed. The product failed. The marketing failed. You didn't fail. Do not believe the PR. A lot of what you see is smoke and mirrors. You know this. A lot of it is marketing. A lot of it is smoke and mirrors. Don't believe the PR. The people you think are doing well are not doing as well as you think. They all have their own difficulties and their own struggles. And the people you don't know about are probably the ones who are succeeding. So quietly. Don't forget, money talks, wealth whispers.
So, I like that.
Yeah. So be patient. If something fails, it's not you. It's failed. Pick yourself up and don't allow what appears to be somebody else's success make you feel bad, because you don't know what that person is going through.
The voice there of South African entrepreneur, author, investor, speaker, and businessman Vusi Tembekwayo, speaking to failure and how we need not let our gaze get lost in what we deem as success of the next. I want you to ponder on that, because the conversation that is to come speaks to us redefining our relationship with failure. Perhaps yours is, Sheila, listen, I'm just tired. I don't want to fail anymore. I feel like I've been doing it for a very long time right now. I really just want to see success coming in flawlessly without any issues. That is what I desire. And I hear you. I do hear you. We are currently in an age that sells us the idea of speed in all things, right? We call it the microwave generation, some, of course, referring to the reality that you want to cook something, put it in the microwave. 2 minutes later, ping, cooked. However, maybe your life is not looking like that. Not everything is coming out cooked so well. We're saying to you that it's okay to fail. And if you don't believe me, stand by, because we have an opportunity to touch base with Nokuthula Kakaza, who's going to be joining us on the line. She is a trauma counselor and wellness consultant, and she will help us redefine our relationship with failure.
Africa's very own think tank. This is Channel Africa Online. www.channelafrica.co.za.
Dreams are made of love, dreams are made of flowers, dreams are made of feelings, dreams are made of passion, dreams are made of money, dreams are made of family, dreams are made of you and your mind. All those that you had when you were a child, ago. Believe that they still stand, 'cause your time is now. Just believe in yourself. Just believe in yourself. Don't let your crown down. Don't let your crown down. Who you ain't, 'cause you know just who you are. And in time you will see just what you're made of. So go find your way. Dreams are made of tears, dreams are made of fears, dreams are made of enemies, dreams are made of friendships, dreams are made of your talents, dreams are made of greatness, dreams are made of bad weather any day. When you were ago. Believe that they still stand, 'cause your time is now. Just believe in yourself. Yeah. Yourself. Don't let your crown down. Don't let them tell you who you ain't, 'cause you know just who you are. And in time you will see just what you're made of. So find your way. Just believe in yourself. Just believe. Don't let them tell you who you ain't, 'cause you know just who you are. You will see just what you're made of. So go find your way. Everybody wants to be somebody. Just believe in yourself, 'cause you know just who you are. Everybody wants to be somebody. Just believe in yourself. Just believe, 'cause you know just who you are.
Get Channel Africa on DSTV Audio Bouquet. Channel 802. From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
Me Africa, no diba, ariga warige, no diba, me Africa, no diba, ariga warige, ita jame, Napoli de me Africa, ita jame, Napoli de me Africa. Oh, Africa, hey Africa, hakuchagani nago, hey Africa, oh Africa, hajuna vuritio. Hey Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakani nago. Hey Africa, oh Africa, hayuna bulitinyo. Hidayame, na bulidaya me Africa. Hidayame, na bulidaya me Africa, oh Africa, hey Africa. Mama Africa now, hey Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakari nago. He nyere gari nago, pliega male hakucha. He nyere uridio, pliega male hayuna. Hey agi ao, mapulie tunu bae Africa, hey. Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakani nago. Hey Africa, oh Africa, hayuna ulipinyo. Hey Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakani nago. Hey Africa, oh Africa, hayuna ulipinyo. Now the bang Africa, I know the bang Africa, I know Madago. Now the bang Banyasa, he
nago, hey Africa, oh Africa, how you na burikinyo, kaba ariaganu, hi kaba ariaganu, hi mama Africa now, hoi Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakari nago, hey Africa, oh Africa, how you na burikinyo, oh Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakari nago, hey Africa, oh Africa, how you na burikinyo, kaba ariaganu, hi kaba ariaganu, hi mama Africa now, hey Africa, oh Africa, hakuchakari nago.
It is 19 minutes before 11 p.m. Central African time, coming through there with that song titled Africa, and that by Aurelio Martinez. Before that, we had Dream by Deborah Debs. We're going to take a quick breather. When we get back, we get into our very first conversation for the evening. That is us redefining our relationship with failure.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us on a digital voyage like no other. Channel Africa has a treasure trove of awesomeness. That is our website and social media pages.
Tell me, why are you here?
We want you to be part of our adventure.
The winds are changing, Captain. And this time...
Imagine a world where curiosity knows no bounds, where entertainment meets enlightenment, and where every click leads to the African perspective. Visit us on our website, www.channelafrica.co.za, or follow us on Instagram or on X at Channel Africa One. Go on, like us on Facebook at Channel Africa One. So, spread the word. Tell a friend that Channel Africa's online variety is what they need on the web. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Let the good times roll. From the 10th of October, make a note. Channel Africa is stepping into a brand new era with the launch of our upgraded website and app. It's easy, fresh, and always on your fingertips. Wherever you are in the world, Africa's voice is just a click away. The future of Channel Africa. Okay. Goes live from the 10th of October. Don't miss the moments. Africa's voices, Africa's journeys. They're all on African Diaries.
It is 17 minutes before 11 p.m. Central African time. Let's get into our very first conversation that looks to address our relationship with failure. Now, failure is universal, but what we really fear is what it means to fail. And so these are some of the tags that people have associated with failure. Things such as shame, disappointment, loss of self-worth. Those are some of the tags that come with the term failure. Now, psychologists call it the fear of failure, a mindset that fuels procrastination, burnout, and risk avoidance. In Africa, where success often carries a community expectation, this fear can silence innovation and ambition. Now, trauma counselor and wellness consultant Nokuthula Gagaza helps people transform failure into growth through mindfulness, resilience, and self-compassion. She joins us to unpack the psychology of fear, the stories that sustain it, and how we can redefine failure. And that can help us heal, it can help us grow, and it can help us rise stronger. Thank you so much for joining us, Nokuthula. We appreciate your presence on the show. Welcome to African Diaries.
Thank you for having me.
Nokuthula, I want us to start off just by looking at your trauma-informed perspectives, right? What does failure represent to most people? I mean, we talked about a few tags. We spoke about how people associate shame, disappointment, loss of self-worth. But what are some of the nuances that we perhaps don't understand of face value when it comes to failure?
Well, first off, I think one of the biggest things that we often overlook around failure is that it actually lasts in our memories. That experience of not making it, of the outcome not being what we'd expected, it tends to last for us in our minds through our memory and be on a continuous replay and further exacerbates into our nervous system where our bodies remember what it felt like when I failed, how I was responded to as a child when I'd failed, how I've responded on my own or my partner responded to me when I failed. So those kind of things have a lot to do then with our ability to bounce back into resilience after failure or to find ourselves stuck in a negative loop.
Nokuthula, what's really interesting is that you said that the memory remains. How does this memory begin to pierce who we are as we progress forward? Because it's one thing to have the memory, but I want to know how it presents itself after the fact through the lens of trauma.
All right. So let me start off then by introducing trauma in itself. So trauma by definition is a wound. So if you think about wounds, if they remain open and unaddressed, they ultimately become septic. And when they become septic, they become a lot more infectious than what they were in the beginning. And that can ultimately lead to amputation because there's too much infection. It is beyond repair. Now, if we're talking about an experience of failure that was hostile or negative or left a trauma imprint in the mind and in the body, then what that means is when I see failure or I see the prospects of failure, which we all go through, by the way, but when I see it from someone who's had a traumatic experience prior around failure, I'm going to be stuck in that. My mind is going to shut down. I'm going to be under the illusion that I cannot move forward. I have no capacity to move forward. I'm hopeless. It's hopeless. What's the point of trying? A lot of self-loathing, a lot of self-shaming, a lot of self-blaming. But again, remember, this would have a lot more to do, not only with the disappointment of what didn't happen, but about how that disappointment was handled within my environment. Our first exposures to failure starts in our developmental phases in early childhood.
Nokuthula, you said quite a bit there, and I love the fact that you likened it to a wound, and the progression of this undealt with wound in the physical and tangible. You said that these of course have an imprint from earlier on, right? So what are the manifestations that you would see in an adult because this happened when they were young? And I'm saying this because I've noticed that more often than not, we struggle to identify trauma, right?
Yes.
It isn't as clear as day. Yet we remember the feeling that we felt when we experienced this failure. And as opposed to receiving attention, affection, dealing with the wound at hand, we sort of didn't get what we think we needed. And that's also another thing I want to address. The memory that we have, is it because of how people responded to as compared to what we wanted? Or is it because people did not deal with our failure correctly?
Oof, I love that. Did they not deal with our failure correctly, or did we struggle to deal with our own failure? Here's the thing. As a young mind developing in a social world, you learn right from wrong through your society. So that kind of answers that first half, right? Because the people around us determine what's safe and what's not safe. The people around us tell us if we have the capacity to keep moving or not. And then as we evolve into maturity, when we start to learn a sense of autonomy and we start to decide for ourselves what's progress, what's not progress, what's success, what's not success. But in early childhood, a lot of it comes from how the people around us in our society, in our homes, first and foremost, deal with our inability to perform as per intended expectation. Now, you touched on something significant also around what is it about this failure thing that makes it so long lasting in our thought processes. And it has a lot to do with our sense or a desire for control. I set out a task for myself to, let's say, reach 1,000 followers. We'll use social media as a context. To reach 1,000 followers within 7 days. In 7 days, I come and I reach only about 300 followers. Now, that can be disappointing and things don't always go our way. But if I come from an environment when I don't meet the intended target, I am shamed, I am beaten, I am belittled. I'm not going to take not reaching my intended target very well. Again, the mental imprint of how failure in earlier life was dealt with has a lot to do with how we start to perceive our own failures too.
The voice there of Nokuthula joining us this evening, Nokuthula Gagaza, who's here to help us better gauge this fear that we have of failure and redefine our relationship with failure. She is a trauma counselor and wellness consultant. It is 50 minutes after 10 p.m. Central African time. A quick breather if this is a bit too much pressure. Then we get back.
Africa Speaks on African Diaries with Sheila Ndikumana.
We are discussing redefining our relationship with failure, and we're doing this with none other than trauma counselor and wellness consultant Nokuthula Gagaza joining us this evening. Nokuthula, we were able to set the foundational phase for understanding this particular subject matter, but I want to move into a more nuanced context. Right. And I suppose this is us widening the understanding of what failure does to a community. Now, in African contexts, community defines success as part of identity. And I'm not saying that this doesn't happen in other spheres, but notice how the praise is held high when you come back home and you are the engineer you said you were going to be, versus you failing a year and not being able to complete in record time and then feeling the pressure and then dropping out. It is a very contrasting view for most families and how they receive and experience you based on whether you succeeded or failed. Now, given that context permeating throughout the continent, what kind of communities do we become?
Oof, I love this. And I'm just making a note here that when we speak about an appraisal aspect, it has a lot more to do, especially in the description in which you shared it, that appraisal aspect has a lot more to do with self-esteem. And so the more we're appraised, the higher my sense of, I got this, I know what I'm doing. Because as human beings, by nature, we thrive on having support. We thrive on receiving that sense of appraisal, that sense of belonging, that sense of being celebrated in our communities. And it shapes us truly in terms of how we see ourselves too. And again, remember, before the community is external, it's internal. Now, if our identity or our sense of self-worth has a lot more to do with whether people care for us or not, we're going to have a problem as we're maturing. And I think, we talk a lot about this around social sciences and psychology when it comes to child development, around being careful about when we acknowledge our children. And you'll notice I keep reverting back to that because the struggle with the ability to navigate and manage failure has a lot to do, again, with how it was handled in our childhood. So in social science, we speak a lot around being cautious about when you acknowledge your children. Is it when they are performing well, or is it by virtue of their efforts? If effort is not well celebrated, then when I don't reach the intended outcome, I'm going to have problems around self-celebration. So again, appraisal, speaking more to self-esteem, means then I'm more identifying and I'm more in a successful mode, according to me, when I perform well. And when I fail to perform or reach the intended outcome, then I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And I actually do see it a lot in my practice spaces around how, young minds and even adult minds, when they're not acknowledged by the people they thought and were expecting would acknowledge them, it alters their ability to be able to embrace and accept their own wins.
Yikes. You speak often about self-discovery and purposeful healing. I want us to bring that, or rather self-rediscovery. I think that's such a key subject matter in what it is we're talking about now. So your childhood happened and you didn't have much control over it, but now you're an adult. Yes? You're a fully grown adult in this very interesting world. And you can't afford to sit back and say that this has happened to me, so this is what I've become. There's an opportune moment for you to turn the relationship that you have with failure into something prosperous for yourself. The question perhaps is, where do we start? I already have these habits I practice. I know what I go to cage myself in. I know what I do to maintain a certain look. And if I'm to be extremely honest, it's preserved me for this long. Where do I begin the conversation of change?
It starts with psychological education and language. Now, in my practice, one of the big things I do with all clients is let's first understand where your thought process is stemming from, and let's start using the correct language to describe what it is you're going through. This speaks to a narrative of identify what the challenge is, acknowledge its impact and its effect on you, process that, the emotions that come with that, the destruction and dysfunction that came with that, and thereafter release. Let it go, because it's no longer serving you in any way. And something we often overlook is that our coping strategies, whether positive or negative, are usually a direct correlation towards we're trying to upkeep ourselves. We're trying to defend and protect ourselves. Sometimes our protection mechanisms are not really healthy. Sometimes they are good for us, but also as we evolve and as we mature, we should be altering and improving those. So I love what you're saying. It happened in childhood. You can't do much about that. You handled it the best way you can. But here you are, an adult, and you need to work in a different manner now. So with psych education, what it says is understand what failure has meant to you historically versus what failure can mean to you now. When it speaks to the language use, I like to use words and turn them into acronyms for constructive frameworks and the ability to mentally reframe. So FAIL as an acronym, FAIL. The F could be standing for falling, right? I fell, didn't get the intended outcome. The A would speak for a negative attitude as a result of this. The I could speak to it was an illogical thing. I'm struggling to logically make sense of what transpired here. And the L is for losses. Now, this is a negative thought process and a negative narrative. Another example with that could be where the F stands for flawed. I'm flawed. My attempt was flawed. My business concept is flawed. A could stand for I'm afraid. Now that things didn't pan out the way I wanted to, I'm stuck in fear. I'm afraid. The I could be now inhibited, the inability to move forward, stuck in a freeze state. And the L could be limitation, limited thinking, therefore limited conduct. But if we're to reframe that, it can turn more into something positive where we can look at the F as a first attempt of learning. The A, again, we can look at it as a facing adversity and integrating and new lessons from that experience. We can look at it as forgiveness, acceptance, and integrating these new lessons. So how we perceive and see words has a lot to do with how we're able to kind of process then the adversities that we go through. But with reframing psychological work that I speak to around trauma, it's about understanding that one word that you've known as one way your whole life, if you open up your mind, can be reframed to have a completely different meaning altogether for you.
Nokuthula, what's really interesting is you said you need to conscientize rather the mind of the issue at hand, where it stems from, right? And then begin to work on the language. And then you said the let go part. And my brain went, people don't know how to let go when there isn't a replacement. I think of addictions, right? Remember back in the day when they used to say, eat an apple, eat an apple, eat an apple, right?
Yeah.
In the place of you maybe going to go smoke a cigarette. And a lot of people say that it works for the meantime. However, in the long stretch, it's not enough to replace an apple with a cigarette. Yeah. Sure. And so in the case and in the place of trauma, it's not just the pain that I'm fighting. It's also the habit that I need to undo. And so how do we begin to repurpose habits? You know, in the place of me shutting down, procrastinating, going, you know what, I'm not even going to try, because that was my go-to. That was my that's what kept me safe, is that I would be nonchalant, not try, and then nothing's going to happen to me. But if I want to change proactively, how am I intentionally repurposing habits without feeling extremely overwhelmed by the process?
Mind and body. In trauma work, we speak about suppressed emotional charge. If my attempt to fly, for the lack of a better description, if my attempt to fly led me to fall flat and break a leg, the next time I'm going to be trying to fly, my body's going to be telling me, we don't do that now. We're probably going to break a neck this time. We might not even survive.
Yep.
That's that fear speaking, based on feedback, based on lived experience. And what you're going against is what you've known versus what remains untapped. What separates these two things is the mindset. The one says, man, I tried it, didn't work, limits, cuts, that's it. The other says, okay, this didn't work, but why didn't it work? This is that process aspect. Identify, acknowledge, process. Why didn't this work? What did I overlook? What do I need to replace? Do I need maybe something a lot lighter? Am I using more heavy materials than when I should be using lighter materials? What is it that's stopping me from being able to do what I need to do? But if we do not take a moment to reflect on what led us to this path, we will be stuck in repetitive dysfunctional habits, beating ourselves up against a wall because nothing is going to change, because you're still doing the same thing, expecting different outcomes, which is also described as insanity in itself, right? So part of that change starts with taking a moment to look at, how am I perceiving this particular experience? What am I understanding from this? Am I even learning from this? Or am I just stuck in the fear of what has happened and how that's affected me? You also touched on, how do we replace a negative habit? Habits are there as coping strategies. You coping, meaning it's a symptom of something else that transpired. We cannot let go or move away from what we do not know. Hence the significance of identify, acknowledge. Are you struggling to move forward because it reminds you of the shame you had from childhood? Or are you struggling to move forward because you're questioning and doubting yourself? If you're struggling with self-doubt and an imposter syndrome, who else are you talking to about your ideas? Because sometimes conversing with yourself about yourself and your problems is just going to keep you stuck in a very negative thought loop, and you're not going to move forward. And this is why a community is important. People to bounce off our ideas, our interests, people to share on this journey towards some sense of a difference, a progress is so significant. Because when we forget who we are, the people around us in that community is able to tap you on the shoulder and be like, hey, I know this was a bit tough. It's not the outcome you wanted, but you know what? I've seen you do well. That reminder into the evidence of what has worked well helps contribute towards your ability to move yourself forward again.
The voice there of trauma counselor and wellness consultant Nokuthula Gagaza joining us this evening. Nokuthula, I want to touch on community, right? We live in such a individualized world, right? The hyper, if you will, awareness of your individuality is so much that I think that people struggle to connect. This is just my personal observation, right? And to the effect of our inability to let go of our phones when we are with each other is, for me, something that proves problematic altogether. And so in a world where we haven't created bonds that are sacred enough to be our safe space when we need a reminder, how do we remind ourselves? If I don't have a friend who's going to say, Sheila, you did really well, what am I putting in place as a barricade to me falling back into an old way of thinking? How am I constantly giving myself a thumbs up, even if I didn't reach the goal, but I practiced and got the effort in? What am I doing?
It starts with keeping track. I think one of our biggest hurdles around this relationship, or the poor relationship we have with progress or failure in itself, has a lot to do that we're not keeping track. It has a lot to do also with our default setting of, I can identify a lot of what's not going right, but I struggle with looking at what is going well.
Yeah.
And that mindset has a lot to do with the huge struggle we have around being able to acknowledge wins, because this one thing that hasn't gone right completely eradicates the 5 that have gone well. And if we're not keeping track of the effort we're putting in and how we're applying this effort, we're going to struggle with repeating strategy. As human beings, we are creatures of habit. We function best on patterns of repeated behavior. But if you're not paying attention to your patterns that lead to intended and desired outcomes, when failure happens, because it will happen, because nothing's perfect, we make mistakes, we're supposed to learn from those particular experiences. It's feedback, and not just the limitation. And so when we're not able to kind of process that and reframe, those failures or fear moments as opportunities for feedback, opportunities for reflection, then we're going to be stuck in that negative thought process that I'm not doing enough, because there hasn't been an ability to keep track of what has worked well. Because when we're not doing well, we need those reminders that, okay, this happened in 2019, I bounced back. It happened around 2018, I bounced back. It happened in 2022, I bounced back. But how did I bounce back? Because also just having evidence that says, I made it is not going to be that good enough when you're already struggling with, okay, how do I get myself back into the momentum, the capacity, and the inner self-trust? So evidence is important. Keeping track of your developmental and progress milestones is very essential. Also, our behaviors, again, we focus so much, when you speak about how we live in an individualized world, it's where we're so focused on what can I do and what's my next step. We don't really take a moment just to stop and pause. We're not mindful, right? A full mind, which means present, both in mind and body, to be in this moment that, okay, I did it next. Oh, I did it next. And the more we keep chasing, we're never satisfied. And so when things don't go as we expected, we're bound to trip up and struggle to be able to take a moment to pause, because it's not a habit we've established in our daily behavior. And rest is such an integral part of our ability to perform well.
Nokuthula, we are pressed for time, so we'll leave it here. This has been fruitful. We hope to speak to you very soon. Thank you so much for your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me.
That is the voice of trauma counselor and wellness consultant Nokuthula Gagaza joining us this evening. It is 8 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. We have geared you up for the conversation that is to come. We first addressed the redefining of the relationship that you have with failure, should that be of a negative state. And then we're going to get into adaptivity. So if you're thinking, Sheila, listen, I don't know if my career path is going to remain the same in the next 10 years. The industry that I'm in is ever evolving. I feel like I'm not catching up. And I just have this toggle between the now and the future that makes me feel as though I am being constricted. I can't move forward. I can't press forward. I don't know how to. Willem Goos is joining us in studio in a short bit, and we will be discussing adaptation, the ability to adapt to newer forms of your industry. And of course, this looked at through the lens of entrepreneurial thinking. That comes your way in a short bit.
Turn the page. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa. Love music, love culture, love life. Because you on Channel Africa, the African perspective.
rikiti, rikiti. Rukutu, rukutu.
Tena uzikumbuke ahadi zile ulizonigea, mapenzi vita wendo gadi, baby utanitetea, usiruhusu wadangaji wakaanza kukuzoea, unawajua mafisadi watapata cha kunisemea, akili itazunguka zunguka 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 itazunguka kiniacha mwenzako, maana nitaumbuka umbuka 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 nitaumbuka yote kwa ajili yako. Kwi 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 Italia, kwi kwi kiniachilia, kwi 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 Italia, kwi somo unavyonipatia. Oh my God, oh, I'm crazy for you. Oh my God, oh, I'm crazy for you. Oh my God, oh, I'm crazy for you. Oh my God, oh, I'm crazy for you.
Rakata, rakata, rakata. Rekete, rekete, rekete. Rikiti, rikiti, rikiti. Rukutu, rukutu. Rakata, rakata, rakata. Rekete, rekete, rekete. Rikiti, rikiti, rikiti. Rukutu, rukutu. Comic Slicer.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628.
Yabona ngizomosha kakhulu, zoshaya good, mphatha amabunja, afuna ugroove, ilala vu, nabo ajuice, ilala vu, nabo ajuice. Uzongenzani mase ngiphuthebele, suka mbani omncane ngenini, keleke, nani bosisi nini. Okay, bella nana getting better. 07 beteleni king better. Puli potela ngibeke ihlele ke. Nalocheru funa ngimbize be. Okay, ngicela wenze washing kunekupheka. Ngezo bebe. Athi uyakhohlwa kunokubanzo. Golozo zobona ama crew. Ayikho ngitsandela ujabo. So, yabona ngizomosha kakhulu. Zoshaya good, mphatha amabunja, afuna ugroove, ilala vu, nabo ajuice, ilala vu, nabo ajuice.
Shabuzela dase manyora, fede kamba. Kitera case, areko magogo kilitsi khale tsako London. Hey, kitera stoko sala khoa. Dinidibu. Karibu chup. Ngar tabera di boost. Binena enkopo tsa mafta. My niggas used to play when I touched down. Akaba kilenda ka fefi take a pop suck. Kiridi for the como bigi bella kahman. Like black of eyes, what's what will you figure? Kamila batirele movie mahipa. Are 60, see already in car. Bajilo mare munare rafika, boss rafika.
Yabona ngizomosha kakhulu, zoshaya good, mphatha amabunja, afuna groove ilala vu nabo ajusa ilala vu nabo ajusa skim sam stin lap asibambi bemfishana ngezia sisibiza nempinsa kosinzame nyekumshibiza imbijanga nzishavi last time makele sama inya la kunamaseleb nabasikari jive ke mabhebeze ke lingane nalutwala byadelela ntwana sibushaye vele ungakhohlwa kunokubanzuli ngolozo uzobona ama-crew hayi kodwa ngithandela ukujabula so yabona ngizomosha kakhulu ilala vu nabo ajusa ilala vu nabo ajusa yabona ngizomosha kakhulu zoshaya inguda ngiphatha amabunja afuna ugroove ilala vu nabo ajusa ilala vu nabo ajusa yabona ngizomosha kakhulu
It is 17 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African Time. If you have just joined us, that song there by Kwesta, and that one titled Ngut alongside Casper Nyovest. Beautiful music representing South Africa on the playlist. Before that, a beautiful song that came through there titled Kwikwi that my technical producer was humming to. Very interesting. That by Zuchu, taking us to Tanzania. Listen, a blessed and beautiful one to you and yours. It is time for our second conversation, and I did promise you that we would be talking about adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. Now, if you've just joined us, this is DSTV's 802, if not 628 on OpenView HD. We are Channel Africa, and we bring you that African perspective. Today, we are diving into one of the most urgent conversations of our time. How we, as professionals and entrepreneurs, must adapt our thinking and our careers to stay relevant into the future. Now, according to World Economic Forum, over 44% of the core skills required for jobs will change by 2027. And AI-driven automation could impact up to 300 million jobs globally. But that's not all bad news. It's a massive opportunity for those who are looking to learn, adapt, think faster, think more critical about where they find themselves in the world. Think differently, if you will, with respect to the integration of technology and not necessarily against technology. Now, to unpack this, we are joined by Willem Gous, who is an entrepreneurial thinking expert, a speaker, and of course, he joins us this evening. Willem will help us reshift our thinking, introduce adaptivity if this is something that you struggle with. Willem, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome back to the show.
Oh, yes, and thank you for having me tonight. We're going to have a fun conversation, and thank you for everyone tuning in.
I want us to start on a very exciting note. Now, you have been nominated, we understand, right, for the ASEB 2025 awards. Firstly, congratulations. I think that that's very impressive. You are falling under the coach category, right?
Yes, Startup Coach of the Year.
Yes, sir. And how are you feeling about that?
Nice, because I won Startup Mentor of the Year in 2023. So it's nice, especially on the startup coaching side, because I've been doing it for 11 years.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is lovely. That is lovely. Now, with that being said, Willem, you help people shape their businesses. But we're learning that business is changing over time. And so some of the services and the offerings that we're thinking to give people in the next 10 years won't exist. How do we reframe? And I think this is something that people question, but they don't necessarily have an understanding of where to begin when it comes to thinking. Because it's like, I'm so used to, let's make it practical. I make lip balms. I'm so used to making lip balms, but the way that lip balms will be made in the next 10 years will prove to be very different from now. I've got my set suppliers, I've got people I source from, but in the next 10 years, they might not exist because all of that might be automated. I don't know how I'm going to adapt my business to that front, because firstly, I'm panicking that they won't have jobs. But also I'm thinking to myself, I don't know how to use technology. I've just gotten my products, sold them to my WhatsApp community, and that's it. How do we start to rethink without panicking of what is to come?
That's a very good question. And I want to push technology out of that conversation for a starter. So everybody's talking about technology will change and all of these things. And it boils down to the basics. You need to learn to become adaptable in all areas of life. If you don't become adaptable as a human being, you're not going to be adaptable as a business owner, as an employee. You know, like I tell people, I want to be a great leader. Well, if you don't lead yourself, you won't lead your family, you won't lead your community, and you won't lead your country. So it all starts with self. So it starts with developing that adaptability within yourself to start doing things differently. Now, you've probably heard the term growth mindset and fixed mindset, and everybody like, that's nice. And then you ask them, so what does it mean? And they go like, I need to go and get a cup of coffee. I'll be back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And the simplest way that I found to describe the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset is, a growth mindset is, I try new things. A fixed mindset, I don't try new things. And you have to ask yourself, how am I trying new things? So with your lip balm, am I experimenting and trying with different types of lip balm, different ingredients, different sizes, different markets, and different applications? You know, somebody sent me a joke one day. A guy picked up a bottle of shampoo. Your car wash, engine wash, dish wash, hair and body wash. And the guy like, yeah, this works for me.
Okay.
A woman would cringe in that. But the point is just to see what different people want and need. And it's just having that experimentation mindset from the beginning. And that can even start at as simple as doing a different menu than what you used to every week. Have you noticed families? Wednesday is this, Thursday is chicken schnitzel, and this, and you go like, wow, we really have 5 dishes that we eat the whole time, and do takeaways on the Friday night.
Yeah.
And start with your adaptability into that, with your diet and just cooking and playing it, and getting the family involved into that whole shift. And that'll teach everybody to step outside of their comfort zone.
Sure. This ties in well to lifelong learning, right? And I do think that that's a skill that, and I can't say why it's being snipped off, but with every coming generation, it's almost like it's being snipped off. There comes a point where you think you know, and then you cut off the learning, the curiosity, the agency to want to develop yourself, because you do feel developed. How do we fight that mindset?
By making a decision. Okay. It's a decision that you have to make. And I stand corrected. I read this statistics many years ago, but I think about 60% of graduates in America, once they finish their degree, never read another book in that field over the course of their career. 60%. Something like that. But if you look specifically at engineers, by the time that they finish their degree, the stuff that they've learned are outdated. So lifelong learning, and I want a lot of people get nervous when you say lifelong learning, because they're like, what do you mean? So I studied this, do I have to study something new? I don't want to start a new career, and I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying. Lifelong learning is to make learning part of your life, part of your daily life. And it's really as simple as that. Instead of trying to launch a new career in a new direction every 5 or 10 years, bring learning into a daily activity, but make it deliberate. So many young people will come to my class with one of these big folders with certificates of courses that they've done. And I asked the guy, okay, cool. Of all those courses, do you use that information in your daily life? He says, no. I said, well, give me the folder. Let me go and throw it in the dustbin. Woo! Did they fight me on that one? I said, well, knowing and not using is the same as not knowing at all. So when you choose to go into a lifelong learning phase, ask yourself, how is this helping me to become better, more efficient, faster in whatever I'm trying to do? And that might be parenting, might be life, might be work, might be business. It's your choice, but make sure that it's in alignment.
Willem, let's go back to that intro stat, right? That spoke of 44% of core skills evaporating by 2027. Right? That is something that does rock a number of boats. How can professionals shift from fear to fluency?
When it comes to your lifelong learning, especially that, let's get back to that. It's about adapting to that. Now, most people, when they try to adapt, they think, I have to jump from the one side of the room to the other side of the room in one go. And many people try to do that, and then they fail, and then they demotivate. Instead, you need to take one foot in front of the other towards the other side of the room, and then another and another. And if it works, you continue. If it doesn't work, you step back or you change direction. So what do I mean by that? Lifelong learning comes in little chunks. If you want to be more financially literate, learn more about money and the management of money. If you read an article on your mobile phone about financial management, it can take you, let's say, 3 minutes. Okay, and you read 3 articles a day, that's 10 minutes. You do that 7 days a week. That's 1,050 articles over a year. Do you think you're going to think differently about money? Do you think you're going to have more knowledge about financial? And that's the thing. It's people overestimate the short term and they underestimate the long term. And it's that incremental shift that you can do. And if you go back to the 3 article thing, that's 10 minutes a day. Imagine you take 30 minutes a day. So in the morning you read 10 minutes about this subject, afternoon 10 minutes about that subject, and then the evening 10 minutes. So now you do 1,050 articles around 3 different topics over a year. So that is 3,150. And if it's in alignment where you want to go, you're in a very good position. So it's the small steps.
The voice there of Willem Gous. He is an entrepreneurial thinking expert joining us this evening. We are looking at adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. Willem, I want us to talk about, and the reason why I keep on going back to change is that I think that we have an intrinsic issue with change.
Yes,
a lot of there's like, you want to fight even though you don't understand what the change is. It's not necessarily the AI that's problematic. It's the fact that Sheila likes consistency. And so anything that comes to interrupt my regular programming, I want to oppose. Now, as somebody who is looking to benefit, yes, I can practice the small incremental changes, but when I see that I come to the office and no longer do I need to do research because there's an entire PC that has AI settings that you put one subject matter and 50 articles come down, you've introduced change. And I'm starting to feel uncomfortable. What perceived view should we have of change?
That's a good thing. Change happens on a few levels. You have to understand. Something new comes in, and it's the newness. On one level, you're going to be drawn to that. Go like, oh, this is nice. This is going to save and everything else. But second of all, it's something you know. And it's a habit that you have in your life. I come to work, I do this research, I present this, and that's why it's the habit that you have. Now, is it perfect, your workflow that you have around that? No. Can it be improved? Yes. But those things that don't work, you've developed workarounds around that. And then you sit with the uncertainty of the new. Is it going to be as good as me? Will I sound like me? So all of these things are fighting against your drawing towards the new thing. And this happens on all areas. If it's a new car, if it's a new bed, if it's moving a house, doing something different at work, studying into a new environment as well. So that's normal. And if you fear change, that's okay. Best thing that I can suggest is, what's the smallest shift that you can make that doesn't push you into a panic?
Sure.
And then do the next one. So play in a psychological safe environment. But push yourself to uncomfortableness, not panic. And that's where the small steps come in again. So to use your research idea. So now instead of researching the whole program, you get it to do one little 5-minute segment. And you get it to do that for you. You get used to it, and you and the system find each other, and then you can try another and another. But if the 5 minutes don't work, instead of going, oh, this is not working, ask yourself, how might I make this work?
Sure. I like that. How might? We spoke about that.
Yes, one of my favorite questions.
Willem, we live in a rushed world. Everything around us is so rushed that we have normalized hurrying up. We have normalized being quick about things. How do we slow down to appreciate the 10 minutes of reading that I do, as opposed to trying to do 2 hours and getting tired in 3 days?
That's a very interesting question. It boils down to agreements. Let me explain. Would you set up a meeting with a close friend or even a business client and then not arrive for the meeting? Would you not?
Why?
Why? Would that make you look bad? Unprofessional? Okay, cool. How many meetings have you set up with yourself and not pitched for those? Yes. We hold agreements for other people, but we don't hold agreements for ourselves. And that comes in again to the adaptability. It's not about just doing new things. Doing new things are very easy. It's stop doing old things. That's the difficult thing. So if you're used to, after dinner, wind down, have a beer, watch your favorite 1 hour series, and you go like, that's nice. Okay, cool. What about let's not do that? And but then there's a problem. But it's something that my wife and I do together, and then this and there. So there's a lot of pushback inside of you to stop doing things in order to start doing something new. Because the problem that I've seen, and being a parent of a teenager, is they want to do everything that they still do in a day, like they do in a holiday, and fit in school. And you're like, no. It's not going to work. There's a limit to that.
Yeah.
And some things, if you really ask yourself, would this be important? If I was 70 years old now, and I reflect back to this moment in time and the things that I plan to do for tonight, would that really be important to me? So ask your older self for some advice.
Sure. Again, there, the voice of Willem Goos joining us this evening, entrepreneurial thinking expert, and we're looking at adapting our careers and thinking for future proofing. 35 after 11 p.m. Central African time. We take a quick breather. When we get back, we get into part 2 of this conversation.
One continent, 1,000 stories. It's African Diaries, 10 till midnight on Channel Africa.
what you call, I'm sure you know. If you want to see Joe Biden, then it's my line you're dialing. Merci beaucoup, I'm buying whatever you're selling.
.38 after 11 p.m. Central African Time. Faceless alongside Serotonin. What interesting names. And that one titled Venus. If you've just joined us, welcome to it. We are still talking, adapting and really shifting our thinking and the ways we think about our career for future proofing. This, of course, on the backdrop of that World Economic Forum stat that suggested that 44% of the core skills required for jobs will change by 2027. And these AI-driven automation, I suppose people look at them as threats, some look at them as opportunities, could threaten 300 million jobs globally. Joining us in studio, Willem Gous, who is an entrepreneurial thinking expert. And we're going to be getting into, firstly, just looking at styling our mindset. I want to call it that. And then we're going to get into a 5-part active plan, right? Proactive approach towards making sure that we are really adapting to the ways that are now. And of course, holding true to self. Willem, completely off the side, completely off the rank. A lot of people do think that a lot of their behavioral practices define them and are sort of attached to their identity. I think that's a bit of a tricky one when you think. I don't think it seeps in greatly into the world of business, but I do think it does come into character and the way they deal with people. And it limits their ability to adapt to new spaces and states. What's your take on that?
Oh, absolutely. It does filter into it. How you do things at home is how you do things at work.
Okay.
It will filter through and vice versa.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that your thinking drives your actions and your actions lead to your results. And if you think of your results, ask yourself, what actions did I take to make that happen? And what was the underlying thinking? And I think you and I touched upon it earlier, metacognition, thinking about your thinking. And ask yourself at the end of the day, what was I thinking? Why was I thinking that? What drove those thoughts around that? Because we all have a perspective of something, a way that we think about things. And ask yourself, and I want the listeners to think about this as well. Think about your thoughts throughout today. How much of those were judgment? Of that person is this label, that person is that label, especially when we look at taxis and traffic and he drives like whatever the word that might be, and everything else, and that shows you your thinking and how you compare the world as being wrong and I'm being right. Okay, instead of just that's how they do things, or what may I learn from this? Don't learn from the taxi driver. Just a joke. Okay?
Yeah.
Unless you want to become a race car driver.
Yeah.
But is there one way to raise a child? No. So I can learn from anybody else who has a child, and they can learn from me. But that learning is a choice. And I have to make that choice. So I think the best way is to develop the practice of thinking about our thinking, to analyze and ask ourselves, how is this possibly impacting me negatively and those that I love and the place where I work?
Perhaps let's drive a bit further into that. When we have thoughts of change that come against who we think we are, how need we perceive who we are against what it is we do? Because thoughts will help you develop action. And if there are thoughts that tell me, but this is not what I do because this is not who I am, and they hinder your action, perhaps we should create a difference in understanding between identity and what it is we do.
It's your cultural influence as well. This is how we are. We are not like that. And if I am that, then I'm apart from that, and that leads to loss and fear of rejection. So there's a lot attached to that. And it's about making a decision of not necessarily identifying with that.
Sure.
And stepping away from it. You have to understand that if you make a change and you don't get pushback and people getting angry about it, are you really making a change, or are you just maintaining the status quo in a more fancy way? As a professional international speaker, I tell people if I don't get criticism and pushback, then I know I'm not doing impactful work.
Speaking about impact, let's talk about portfolio mindsets. The imperative nature of this model and why it proves to be resilient in most cases.
And portfolio is very interesting. It's about building multiple skills. Let me tell an interesting story. Imagine you are a box cutter, a knife in a toolbox, and the handyman opens the toolbox every now and then and he cuts something with it and he puts you back. He doesn't use you often. But later on, other devices start implementing that as well. Have you noticed that your kitchen scissors now has a bottle opener into it and everything else that goes with it? So your life as that box cutter is getting very lonely. And that portfolio mindset is to expand further onto that, is to become like a Swiss Army knife that has a screwdriver in it, pair of scissors and everything else. And it's about becoming that Swiss Army knife of a human being in a specific field or direction where you want to head towards.
Sure.
And it's not about just learning things. It's about learning things that complement each other. That's a very important thing.
I find that more often than not, people develop horizontal or vertical skills only. So it's either I'm developing my competencies in a particular field, and I am keeping to the updated version of whatever it is I need to learn. Perhaps in my field of practice, there's now AI being integrated. I'm learning that skill, but I'm forgetting the soft skills. That communication is different now.
You
know,
much, yeah.
that I don't need to call you. I can text you on WhatsApp, and that's okay. You know, there's soft skills that we're forgetting, and we're focusing on these core competencies in a particular field, and then we get lost when we don't get picked for the next job, or when we fail to close a deal with a client because of that soft skill range that's missing. What's your take on that?
That is so true. And two things that you say there that sparked my interest. I found entrepreneurs usually go for breadth, and they spread themselves so thin that they lose their special talent that they brought to the business. While employed people really go for that specialization in a specific field, which makes them very fireable if that skill runs out of it. So it's and that's why I'm teaching entrepreneurial thinking in schools, universities, and businesses. It's to have striking a balance between the two. But if you look at that deep specialization, I know a graphic designer. They are spectacularly good at what they do, but they have international qualifications in UX, which is user interface design, and CX, which is customer experience, which is outside of that realm. So they understand the complete customer journey right through the organization down to the website. And that gives them a much better view of what value they can bring to the organization. Instead of just doing one thing, now they can understand the whole journey that goes with it.
Sure.
Yes.
Willem, I understand that you prepared a 5-step process.
Yes, absolutely. Let's step right up, ladies and gentlemen. Get your 5 points today. Number 1 is learn a new skill every quarter. every 90 days, learn a new skill. And if you think back to my 3 articles a day thing, that's 90, 3 times 90, that's quite a bit, that's 270 articles. But if you really do maybe papers, research papers on that, that's going to be beneficial. One thing that I love, you'll see a lot of people in the beginning of January read 52 books for the year. I'm like, no, don't listen to that, because you're not going to implement anything. Take one book that's really adjacent to your field of specialization that will complement it. So let's say you are a brilliant engineer, but you're struggling to communicate your brilliant projects to customers and management. Read a book about storytelling and read it over and over again for 3 months, and watch a few accompanying YouTubes that go with it, and then you start applying what those things are in your daily life. So as you talk to customers, you start implementing one thing that you learned about, and you keep doing that. The next week you add a second thing, and the next week a third and fourth, and next thing you're a storyteller, engineer, that people go like, we love his projects, it's so inspirational. So learn one thing that you can do with that. Partner with AI instead of fearing it. Working with it. You have to, most people use artificial intelligence as the thought leader, and you are the follower. You need to be the thought leader, and it needs to be the follower. And a great way to learn AI is to ask it. Agents is a great way to get it to do work for you. So my one intern is starting, instead of them doing research in all the universities in one country, I'm getting an agent to research all the universities, all specific departments, and the people that work in them, their LinkedIn profiles. So now this intern can simply go and do the work. But that is a difficult instruction to give to an AI. So I work with the AI and ask, I want to get an agent to go and do this for me. Help me write this prompt. Ask me clarifying questions until we finalize this prompt. So I ask it to show me how to talk to it. And I help, and I ask it to guide me how to speak to it. And I start using that. And a great way to work with it is, number one, two pieces of advice. Ask it to be honest and critical, because otherwise it will just say yes to everything. And can you trust a yes man? No. And don't trust a yes AI as well. And second of all, just at the end, ask it, if you have any clarifying questions, ask one at a time. And then it will ask you questions that you didn't think about. Okay? And then it gets to that T shape. Build down and build wide as well. Be current on your specialization. Focus on your specialization. Make sure you don't fall behind, whatever that may be. But then look at the breadth. What are the complementary skills, like I just spoke about? This engineer is very good, but now he needs to learn storytelling, presentation, etc., and look at things that go along with that. That's a very good thing. Create a portfolio of value. Develop multiple skills. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you this. The skills that you have at home, you can use at work. And the skills you have at work, you can use at home. I always tell people, make the joke, if you are a parent and you had 2 teenage kids in the house at the same time, you are a world expert at conflict resolution, and you can bill for that. Okay?
Okay.
So don't think all learning is work related. Learning in your home, if you can improve your communication at home and conflict resolution at home, that skill will show up at work as well. That is a very important thing. And then strengthen your meta skills. Start journaling. Become curious. How many people actually are curious? They just listen to tell you. Okay, I can't wait for Sheila to finish the sentence, because I have a sentence that starts with I. Well, I this and I that. My dad referred to them as eye specialists. Okay?
Yeah.
Start create the skill of listening. When you get home from work and there's a breathing body in your house, okay, if it's somebody you love, even better, and try to listen to them for 5 minutes without interrupting them.
Sure.
And people don't do that. Get curious. Look at a child playing with Lego blocks. How can you become a child with Lego blocks again? And that comes to, and I love Dr. John DiMartini for this quote, the quality of your life is dependent on the quality of your questions. Going back to the point I made earlier about judgment, how much of our thoughts in a daily basis is based on judgment? Us, them, wrong, me, right, this. Ask questions. Instead of going like, oh, that, really? Is that how you cook a chicken? Okay?
Yeah.
You should go like, that's interesting. I've never cooked a chicken that way. What makes you cook a chicken this way? Oh, this, there. Then you understand the things and you can bring that into yourself as well.
Sure. Willem, we are time pressed. This is where we're going to end our conversation, but this was fruitful. Listen, I'm going to go back and listen to this so that I can suck out all the knowledge, especially that 5-step process that you just gave us. It is 53 minutes after 11 p.m. Central African time. If you have just joined us, thank you so much for choosing us over the rest. Don't leave. Okay, if you missed out on the conversation with Willem Gous, it will be readily available for you by tomorrow on YouTube under the video section. Be sure to find the twofold conversation that will be listed, as well as that conversation in the first hour with Nokuthula Gagaza, who joined us, giving us some very insightful info when it comes to dealing with failure and our relationship with failure. With that being said, we must say hello to Morris Touch of the Afro Republic, but we'll do this in a short bit.
Hi there. Do you want to elevate your business and give it a voice in South Africa and Africa as a whole? Well, in that case, let Channel Africa make this a possibility. Channel Africa is willing to advertise your business for as little as 30,000 rands or $1,719.18. To get access to these great rates, send all requests to mukwenata@SABC. That's MOKOENATA@SABC. Channel Africa, the African perspective. From Cape to Cairo, every beat tells a story. It's African Diaries on Channel Africa.
5 minutes before the show comes to an end, if you have just joined us, thank you so much for choosing us over the rest. We pride ourselves in giving you that African perspective and, of course, creating that gateway to the African continent at large. Time for us to touch base with the team of the Afro Republic. They take over between midnight and 3 a.m. Central African time. Morris, are you on the line?
Sheila Ndikumana, how are you?
I am fantastic. Listen, I feel empowered, inspired. I'm ready to tackle the world. Let's not say fist, because I realize the fist won't work. One finger at a time. My punch is not that strong. I don't think I have the necessary force when it comes to a punch. But yes, I am truly inspired. In the first hour of the show, we broke down the understanding behind the fear of failure, and then we redefined our relationship with failure. And then in the second hour of the show, we looked at becoming more adaptable to the new age that we find ourselves in, not just in our career paths, but also in thought. And we did that with Willem Gous. So that has been African Diaries. What can we expect on the Afro Republic?
Fantastic time, eh? We starting our day, and we getting straight into stories that are trending, very exciting stories. Some not the best, and we're looking at one of our trending stories is that new Museum of West African opening soon in Benin City. The new Museum of West Africa will soon open its buildings to the public. That will be on the 11th of November. The opening will feature an inaugural exhibition titled Nigeria Imaginary Homecoming. And as I was just having a conversation with my producer, and I was saying, you know what, some of most of the artifacts in that have been loaned from Europe. How does that happen? You know, I needed to get an understanding of that.
Yeah.
That we have a museum, but all our artifacts are coming from Europe. How does that happen? You know, I needed to go deep. I know you will definitely expand on that one. And I can also look, I'm also looking at one of very, very interesting stories, which is the Kenya Flowers in the Wild. It's more of a festival that ran from the 30th of September to the 4th of September. It blended Nairobi's floral heritage with wildlife, farm tours, gorilla safaris, sunset dinners, live music in Nairobi National Park, and few fashion elements. So it was one festival, a beautiful festival that you love outing. That's you. I think you could be the first of that
Come
festival.
on, Morris. Come on.
I
Exactly.
know.
Thank
That's
you.
That's you. So that's what we're looking at. And of course, great music coming through between 12 midnight and 3 a.m.
That is the voice of Morris Touch, leaving me chuffed this evening. Thank you, Morris, so much for joining us. He takes over in the next 2 minutes. To the team that has been on digital, on technical, on production, I thank you a ton. The name is Sheila Ndikumana, and until tomorrow, cheers.
Take all my mind, take all the joy now, take me down, take all